All right, good morning, guys. We are on Mark chapter 4. And he began to teach again by the sea, and a large crowd was gathered to him, so that he entered into a boat to sit in the sea. And all the crowd was on the land facing the sea. And he taught them much in parables, and said to them in his teaching, "Listen, see, a sower went out to sow. And it came to be, as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the birds of the heaven came and devoured it. And other fell on rocky places, where it had not much soil, and immediately it sprang up, because it had no depth of soil. And when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. And other fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no crop. And other fell on good soil, and yielded a crop that came up, grew and yielded a crop, some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100. And he said to them, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear." And when he was alone, those about him with the 12 asked him about the parable. And he said to them, "To you it has been given to know the secret of the reign of Elohim, but to those who are outside all are done in parables, so that seeing they see but do not perceive, and hearing they hear but do not understand, lest they should turn and their sins be forgiven them." And he said to them, "Do you not understand this parable? How then shall you understand all the parables? The sower sows the word. These then are the ones by the wayside where the word is sown. And when they hear, Satan comes immediately and takes away the word that was sown in their hearts. And likewise there are the ones sown on rocky places, who when they hear the word immediately receive it with joy, and they have no root in themselves, but are short-lived. Then when pressure or persecution arises because of the word, immediately they stumble. And others are those sown among thorns. These are they who hear the word, and the worries of this age, and the deceit of riches, and the desires for other matters, entering in, choke the word, and it becomes fruitless. And those sown on good soil are those who hear the word and accept it, and bear fruit, some 30-fold, and some 60, and some 100. And he said to them, "Would a lamp be brought to be put under a basket, or under a bed? Is it not to be put on a lampstand? For whatever is hidden shall be revealed, and whatever has been kept secret shall come to light. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear." And he said to them, "Take heed what you hear. With the same measure you use, it shall be measured to you, and more shall be added to you who hear. For whoever possesses, to him more shall be given, but whoever does not possess, even what he possesses shall be taken away from him." And he said, "The reign of Elohim is as when a man scatters seed on the ground, then sleeps by night and rises by day, while the seed sprouts and grows, he himself does not know how. For the soil yields crops by itself, first the blade, then the head, after that the complete grain in the head. And when the crop is ready, immediately he puts it in the sickle, because the harvest has come." And he said, "To what shall we compare the reign of Elohim? Or with what parable shall we present it? Like a mustard seed, which when it is sown on the ground is smaller than all the seeds on earth. And when it is sown, it grows up and becomes greater than all plants, and forms large branches so that the birds of the heavens are able to nest under its shade. And with many such parables he was speaking to them the word as they were able to hear. And he was not speaking to them without parables. And when they were alone, he explained all to his taught ones. And on the same day, when evening had come, he said to them, "Let us pass over to the other side." And having left the crowd, they took him along in the boat as he was, and other little boats were also with him. And there came to a great windstorm, and the waves beat into the boat, so that it was already being filled. And he was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. And they woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, is it no concern to you that we perish?" And having been awakened, he rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said to them, "Why are you so afraid? Have you not yet belief?" And they feared exceedingly and asked each other, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" Hallelujah. And they came to the other side of the sea, to the country of the Gadarenes. And when he came out of the boat, immediately there met him out of the tomb a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs. And no one was able to bind him, not even with chains, because he had often been bound with shackles and chains. But the chains had been pulled apart by him, and the shackles broken in pieces, and no one was able to tame him. And continually, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying out and cutting himself with stones. And seeing Yeshua from a distance, he ran and bowed down to him, and having called out with a loud voice, said, "What have I to do with you, Yeshua, Son of the Most High El? Swear to Elohim not to torture me." For he had said to him, "Come out of the man, unclean spirit." And he was asking him, "What is your name?" And he answered, saying, "My name is Legion, because we are many." And he begged him very much that he would not send them out of the country. Now a great herd of pigs was there, feeding near the mountains. And the demons begged him, saying, "Send us to the pigs so that we enter them." And he gave them permission. And the unclean spirits came out and entered into the pigs. They were about 2,000, and the herd rushed down the steep place into the sea and drowned in the sea. And those who fed the pigs fled and reported in it, the city, and in the country, and they went out to see what had taken place. So they came to Yeshua and saw the demon-possessed one, him who had a legion, sitting and dressed in his right mind, and they were afraid. And those who saw it related to them what was done to the demon-possessed one and about the pigs. And they began to plead with him to leave their borders. And as he was entering into the boat, he who had been demon-possessed begged him that he might be with him. And Yeshua did not allow him, but said to him, "Go home to your friends and report to them what the Master has done for you, and how he had compassion on you." And he left and began to proclaim in Decapolis all that Yeshua had done for him, and all marveled. And when Yeshua had passed over again by boat to the other side, a large crowd assembled to him, and he was by the sea. And see, one of the rulers of the congregation came, Yair by name, And when he saw him, he fell at his feet and begged him strongly, saying, My little daughter lies at this point of death. Come, lay your hands on her to heal her, and she shall live. And he went with him, and a large crowd was following him, and they were thronging him. And a certain woman had a flow of blood for 12 years, and had suffered much from many physicians, and spent all that she had, and was no better, but rather became worse. Having heard about Yeshua, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, If I only touch his garment, I shall be made well. And immediately the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the affliction. And immediately Yeshua, knowing in himself that power had gone out of him, turned around in the crowd and said, Who touched my garments? And his taught ones said to him, You see the crowd is thronging you, and you say, Who touched me? And he was looking around to see her who did this. And the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what was done to her, came and fell down before him and spoke to him all the truth. And he said to her, Daughter, your belief has healed you. Go in peace and be relieved from your affliction. And as he was speaking, they came from the ruler of the congregation's house, saying to him, Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further? But having heard the word that was spoken, Yeshua said to the ruler of the congregation, Do not be afraid, only believe. And he allowed no one to follow him except Kepha and Yaakov and Yohanan, the brother of Yaakov. So they came to the house of the ruler of the congregation and saw a commotion and much weeping and lamenting. And coming in, he said to them, Why make this commotion and weep? The child is not dead, but sleeping. And they were laughing at him, and when he had put them all out, he took the father and the mother of the child and those who were with him, and went in where the child was lying. And taking the child by the hand, he said to her, Talitha cumi, which is translated, Little girl, I say to you, arise. And immediately the girl rose up and was walking, for she was 12 years old, and they were completely astonished. And he ordered them many times that no one should know it, and said that she should be given food to eat.